Wayne. Pallets of produce whizzing by. Tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, squash, and more. Farm to Table has a pit stop, this one in the Arizona desert. Feeding America is complicated, more so right now. Everything here is from Mexico, and Donald Trump is back in the White House threatening tariffs.
It's a brave new world.
Matt Mandel helps run Sunfed, this warehouse just a few miles from the border.
100 days into the Trump presidency, your business has been impacted how?
The biggest problem that we have up till now is uncertainty. We have talk about tariffs, and then the tariffs are off. We have tariffs that came into play for 3 days. They were canceled. But the constant threat of what if makes it very hard for us to plan.
The border crossing at Nogales is almost always humming. Commerce both ways caught up in 100 days of Trump trade turmoil.
Food does not make sense at all. All you're going to do is raise those costs to consumers. People have become accustomed to having all their fruits and vegetables on a year-round basis, and that is entirely due to imports. Putting tariffs on imports is only going to limit supply, raise prices, or both.
Small businesses at the border are grumbling too. They complain of a double whammy, tariff threats and tough immigration talk. Yes, illegal crossings in Nogales and across Arizona are down. That's a big Trump campaign promise. But business owners say legal crossings are down too, dropping sales as much as 40% these past 100 days. Tucson is an hour north, reliably blue, but Trump did run a bit stronger here last year as he won Arizona and all the battlegrounds.
What's all this going to do?
Well, this is going to train our individuals how to cook.
Tamara Varga is a Trump supporter, happy with some promises kept, but nervous. A big one could be broken.
I'm worried about Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. He did say that he wasn't going to cut them, that he was just going to find the waste, and I really hope that he sticks to that.
Why is that so important to you?
It's important because we need to take care of our people with disabilities and our elderly and those that depend on it. And they can't survive as it is right now, and we cannot cut.
Varga is a Tucson hero. Her food truck and candy store employ 50 people with special needs. She's renovating this restaurant to employ even more. A devout Christian, lifelong Republican, but some big changes. Varga says she no longer believes Trump's claim the 2020 election was rigged. She's now open to supporting Democrats for local offices, and says Trump tariffs are one reason prices are not dropping fast enough.
The items that we put in our gift baskets have gone up.
So when he says there's going to be some disruption, maybe even some pain, but we're going to get there. For now, you think, okay, I'll give you some time?
I'll give him some time, and I'm hopeful, but, I think that if he doesn't come through, he's going to have a lot of people turning on him.
Melissa Cordero is an Air Force veteran who voted for Trump once, back in 2016, and regrets it every day.
He's like crazed right now. I'm constantly going, can he do that? I'm angry because the communities that I care the most about are being attacked. The LGBTQ community, the trans community, and what's really got me angry is immigration and what's happening to deported veterans.
Cordero just visited some deported veterans in Mexico. Just learned she lost a conservation grant that was part of a DEI program. Is organizing protests against Trump cuts at the Veterans Administration.
There's no one answering the phones. Mental health too. Making cuts in that area, that's like what all of us veterans need the most.
She made everything. She made the best cheeseburger.
Ray Flores named the Monica after a family legend. 100 years ago, Tia Monica inspired the first of what are now more than a dozen family restaurants.
We're sending this to the Food Network, Vince. You don't make it right, you're screwed.
His biggest 100-day take, Trump turmoil, is rattling consumer confidence.
We are definitely seeing less spending at the pump. In our world, that would be the cash register, right? So we're seeing numbers dropping 7-8% around the system right now.
People are afraid to go out to dinner.
We're built on hospitality and celebration and spending time together, and maybe there's some fear of spending that extra money out.
Flores is an independent disgusted with both national parties, all for cutting wasteful spending, all for deporting the undocumented who have committed crimes, but not impressed so far.
I'm a little bewildered about how they've gone about things, only because it seems a bit haphazard.
Scale of 1 to 10.
I'm at a 5.
What's your test for the second 100 days?
I don't want to see it get worse. I don't want to have that aggressive, somewhat mean-spirited decision-making take root on everything we do.
A great kitchen thrives on controlled chaos, but in Trump, Flores sees too much impulse and emotion, too little planning and creativity. 100 days of too much heat.
John joins us now. We heard one woman tell you that she's willing to give President Trump time, but if he doesn't come through, a lot of people will turn on him. How much time does she think the president has?
That was Tamara Varga, Anderson. That conversation was fascinating, all the more so because you remember how many times we went back and forth to Arizona last year, several times. Tamara was one of the president's most fervent supporters. She was the one who predicted more Latinos would vote for the president in Arizona, and they did. And now she says that the rope is getting short, if you will, on a number of issues. She doesn't want the Republicans to cut Medicare. She thinks the president has to fix the cost. She didn't put a time on it, but you could see her frustration. And remember, this is Arizona, 52% for Trump. You come back up to the map here. One of 6 battleground states he flipped, and what was the reason, Anderson? We know, the cost of living. That's why voters were mad. That's why Trump won all those states and flipped them all back. Well, look at this in our polling. You talked a little bit about this earlier. Have Trump policies impacted the cost of living? Yes. 6 in 10 Americans say they have increased, gone in the wrong direction. 6 in 10 say increased. Only 12% say decreased. That's just the cost of living. What about the more global economic questions? What are Trump's policies doing? Again, Anderson, 6 in 10 Americans say they're making things worse. Only 27% say improved. So when you look at this map, Donald Trump filled in this map with all that red because he promised voters quickly he would get costs down and he would fix the economy. 100 days in, the verdict is clear, both in all of our conversations there and in these polling numbers. The president has failed that test, and those historically bad numbers tell you voters blame him.
Yeah, it was also interesting to see that in that town, legal crossings had also, and even kind of day crossings had also cut into businesses and their profits. John King, thanks very much. New reporting in the Wall Street Journal that the president will give car makers a bit of relief tomorrow from the tariffs he imposed. According to the Journal, the decision will mean that companies paying the automotive tariffs won't also be charged for other duties, such as those on steel and on aluminum. With more on that and all the rest, we're joined by CNN Chief White House Correspondent and Source Anchor Caitlin Collins. So what more are you learning about the president's evolving stance now on automotive tariffs?
Yeah, this is a space we've been watching really closely, Anderson, when it comes to what this is ultimately going to look like. And obviously, car makers have been looking at this as well to see what this means for the impact on the prices that people are paying. And so with this new reporting from the Wall Street Journal, essentially arguing that because they're already paying on other tariffs, they're not going to also have to pay for the steel and aluminum tariffs in order to essentially save them from having tariffs stacking on top of one another for some of these car makers. The real thing here, though, is this is reporting. We have to wait and make sure that this is actually an announcement that comes from the White House, because it has been very fluid behind the scenes and things have kind of been moving back and forth as we've been watching all of this shake out, as you just heard there in Dana's interview with Brooke Rollins, when it comes to actual trade deals being formed. We've been asking a lot of questions at the White House about which trade deals they believe they're close to making and why. We heard the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent say they could be coming close to one with South Korea and that they were moving a lot faster than he thought. But Anderson, a lot of that remains to be seen if it's actually a done trade deal. Is it just a memorandum of understanding? Because obviously that changes the nature of this, and actually hammering out a trade deal and getting it done takes a lot of time. It is quite complicated. And so this is certainly something that obviously Americans have questions about. You look at the new polling from CNN that came out today, and the president's ratings on the economy, which are generally some of his strongest areas in addition to immigration, have actually fallen in the last few months since March, where people's confidence in his policies is not as high as it once was. And so that's a question for the White House, if these numbers are sinking in, how they view that. So far, the president has been quite defensive of his economic policies and says he plans to move ahead with the tariff policies, even suggesting just yesterday on Truth Social that Americans making under $200,000 maybe would not be paying income taxes if they raise enough revenue from their tariffs. Obviously, Anderson, a lot of that remains to be seen tonight as they are closing in on 100 days.